I'm Nate G219, and this is To Hell But Back and Better. This is another one coming at y'all. First, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Hit that channel if you want to help out. Excuse me. Today, January 11th, about 8:15 in the morning. But you know that's the irrelevance I got to bring at you. Just letting y'all know what time I'm doing things and when I'm doing it, I guess. I don't know. Just sharing my life with y'all. I don't care if you don't like it. But I've been reacting to some of Cuzzo Costo. That's his channel name, but his name's Eric Costo. And I've been doing some reactions to some of his videos, and a lot of them are about getting right up to prison. But you know what? I figured let's go back to part one together. And I haven't seen part one. I just did a screen recording, and I want my reaction to be raw. So I don't know if this is going to be very entertaining, but this is part one. This is Eric and his road to redemption, his road to prison, whatever you may call it. This is Eric Cuzzo Costo. Let's get into it.
What's up, everybody? This is part one of Cuzzo's life. I was born in 1989, and I was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I was born at Swickley Hospital. And when I was born, my name was Eric Lytle. That was my mother's maiden name. At the time, no dad. My dad left my mom. The story I got was she left a note in his lunchbox. She packed him a lunch, for work, and, we're having a baby, and that was it. And he said, "Fuck you, I'm out." So, my mom ended up getting...
Unfortunately, this is a lot of young men's realities. This is a lot of what society has become. And when there's no father figure around, a lot of times the wrong turns are taken, and they're taken at a very young age. Addiction happens, and it happens at a very young age. I mean, he was a very young child. I know one of the videos I did watch, when his name became Eric Costo legally, he was 6 years old, maybe 7. I mean, that's a scarring, and all that custody stuff, separation of your half-brothers, whether they're half or not, they're your brothers, especially when you're that young. They're sticking together, the Three Musketeers is what it sounded like he was telling me in the video that they were. I mean, they were close. And the courts ended up separating them at about 6 years old, and it's very unfortunate that kids have to do things like that and go through things like that. But let's get back into it.
Together with another person. This person's name's Dave. And I don't know. I'm never going to say anything that I don't fully know. So I don't know what they talked about, worked out. I don't know if my mom tricked him. I don't know. All I know is that he was my dad, okay? And my name was changed to Eric Ellison, which was his last name.
And you see how he said he knew that was dad. And that says a lot, because he's not calling him by his name. He's calling him his dad. That's who was raising him. That's who was taking care of his mom. So,
Dave Ellison. So I'm now Eric Ellison, and this is my dad, this is my mom, and...
Sorry, I did do a video speaking on a guy named Eric Ellison the other day. This is not him.
Then a year and some change later, they have another son, David. So now there's me and David. Then we got another year and some change, and there's another son. So now we got 3 sons. We got Eric Ellison, David Ellison, and Anthony Ellison. 3 boys, all a year and some change apart. And I love my brothers. I love my childhood. I love my life. I love my mom and I love my dad. You know, I went through a lot of bullshit. My brothers went through a lot of bullshit. Thank God they were young and don't remember everything. But we're gonna get into that. So I'm Eric Ellison, and I'm living on Davison Street in a place called Aliquippa. So, my mom and my dad, they got me, David, and Anthony. They got 3 boys. Now, they're in their early 20s, so, you know, they're not mature. They're not ready for the parent life, for real. Me.
So, speaking on that, in the 20s, and depending on your mind frame, because I was a parent when I was in my 20s, I became a father of my wonderful 21-year-old son. And I'll tell you one thing, I sure as hell wasn't ready. And his mom wasn't ready either. Neither of us were. And we still had a lot of partying we wanted to do. And unfortunately, our son suffered mostly the greatest out of all. He suffered the most. Thankfully, we only had the one son together, so we weren't putting 3 kids through a bunch of bullshit. But I went to prison in October. I got picked up in October of 2012, and a few months later, his mother was also picked up. And we both had prison sentences. We were both facing a lot of time. Unrelated crimes, but we did a lot of damage. And if it wasn't for the grandparents stepping up, God only knows what would have happened to him. But he ended up going to my parents' house, and my parents gained legal guardianship. And I'll tell you one thing, that kid at 21 has made it more further in life than I had ever imagined myself making it. He is a productive member of society. He's in college. I mean, on a track scholarship. I mean, he's doing the damn thing. So, but through all his trauma and his suffering, he made himself, he pushed himself not to want to be us, not to want to be anything like us, coming and visiting me in prison and his mom in prison. That's nothing. That's no place for a child to have to go see their parents at.
You know, looking back now that I'm older, they weren't ready for all that shit because they did us dirty as kids. I mean, straight up. We were, like, they want to have friends over after work and have their parties and stuff. We're locked in a room. Like, we used to get locked in a room at, like, 3 in the afternoon and not be allowed out. Like, straight using the bathroom in the closet. Brothers shitting and pissing themselves.
Okay, so, we never put our son through anything like that. We just exposed him to things that we shouldn't have exposed him to. Never locked him in the closet. One thing I've never done, I've never smoked weed around him, like in the car, in the same room, none of that. Never did drugs around him. And our thing was more pills at that time than anything. Popping some Vicodins and stuff like that. So, it wasn't doing the drugs directly in front of the kids, and we sure as hell weren't locking our son in the closet. If anything, I locked myself in the closet so I could smoke a bowl of weed. That was that.
I was having to throw it out the window. Like, that shit was fucking fucked up, man. It made me partying all night, and we'd be locked in our room. And, like, our family, other family members eventually found out about that shit and, like, you know, got involved and all that. But, like, yeah, we got treated on that end. Like, they were not ready to be parents. And I'm a little fucking kid. I'm like 5, 6 years old. I'm taking care of my brothers and shit. Like, this shit was just weird. And they just, you know, drinking all the time, the fucking coke, all that partying, everybody coming over for parties and shit like that. It was just non-stop. And then, so.
And, you know, I could share a little insight on that too. we did party with some coke there for a little while. We both liked it a lot. I mean, we were in our 20s. We were partying, but again, we were never doing it in front of our son. We would never be doing anything directly in front of him. That's not something that we did. We both wholeheartedly believed against that, and I still do to this day. I don't care what the country says. There's a lot of people, a lot of parents that will sit there and smoke blunt in the car, 2 kids in the back seat, their window barely cracked. You know the kid's got a damn contact high, taking them right into school. Kids smelling like weed when they go into school, and they don't even have a clue what the weed is yet. I mean, some parents nowadays, even in his childhood, even in my childhood, some of it just was unfiltered. But the 90s and the 2000s, parents became a different breed. And a lot of them were having children very young. And, you know, kids having kids. But they still wanted to be kids. So they were. And it damages the children horribly. It damages them horribly.
Well, our dad owned and had his own business doing flooring, carpet, tile, ceramic, shit like that. And so he had workers, and you know the workers would come to the house, meet him in the morning, and then they'd head out wherever. Well, my mom, being my mom, she, you know, falls in love with dude after dude after dude, and she fell in love with one of our dad's employees, and this employee was young. I mean, he was like a teenager at the time. Might have been 19 or something, but our mom's having an affair and cheating on our dad with his young worker. And again, I don't know all the crazy.
I'm grateful that I've never had to experience any of that personally, but I couldn't imagine the trauma that would cause to have to go through multiple father figures and things like that. That I'm sure is a very damaging. And my ex-wife and I both did the same things. We both have kids from others now. And, you know, that's not what life had been planned for at the beginning. But, you know, things are what they are. It is what it is. And, you know, I'm very grateful today to be able to share these stories, do these reactions, and sitting in the house that I've worked my ass off to get 10 years ago, couldn't even dream of this. This is just a wish and a fantasy back then. Because 10 years ago today, I was sitting in Michigan City Penitentiary, Indiana State Prison, IDU. That's where I was. Damn, have tables turned.
Details and shit, but I caught them, like, straight up. So I get off the bus, right? And when I get off the bus, I'm so young that I'm not allowed to leave. When I get off that bus stop, I gotta wait to get picked up. I'm not allowed to walk home. I know that. And I'm even scared to walk home anyway. So I get off the bus, nobody's there. No one there to pick me up. So I'm waiting, nothing. I end up going into the store that is, like, a part of the bus stop. There's a convenience store. I go in there and I need my mommy, I need my dad. You know your number? You know your house number? Yeah. So I'm calling. No answer. I end up walking out and I'm still standing there. You know what I see? Riding a pedal bike up the road. One of my dad's workers. They call Beat. It's his nickname, Beat. His real name's Bob, but he's riding up. Hey! What are you doing? Where's my mom? Where's my dad? Your mom's waiting for you. Go ahead, go down. Go home. I can go? Yeah, you can go. Run now. Well, he told him, I'm running. I'm scared, but I'm running. Let's fast forward. We're older now. Dude, my mom was cheating on her husband, on my dad. Couldn't come get me at the bus stop. She was too busy having an affair at the house, getting it in. So I run back and fast forward, it comes out, you know. So what does she do? What does our mom do when everything's crashing down on her? She got caught, she's a cheater, she's fucking in love with this dude, she's in love with him. Wants to be, like, this marriage is over. I know we have kids, I know all that, like, well, what does she do? Because she can't take care of us, like, she can barely take care of us with him. So, the whole family's turning against her, like, alright, if you're leaving him and all that, like, you can't take care of these kids, we're not letting you get custody of these kids. Well, her and her teenage,
So remember, she was married to this guy, David Ellison. And Eric, now at this point in time of the story, is an Ellison. He's Eric Ellison. He's one of David's 3 children. But Mom's choices seem that may be coming to a head. I mean, I don't see any other choice. They're talking divorce. I mean, divorce, David didn't create this man. He's not this man's biological father. And not all men will step up and raise a kid that's not theirs, regardless of the situation. But, I mean, first of all, a man doesn't have to raise a child that's not his. But it just seems like there wasn't a choice. I don't know if David would have continued to raise him. He might have. David sounds like he was a good man. He owned his own business. Eric's mom was running around and causing turmoil within the family. So, I don't want to offend you, Eric, but that, if I'm not wrong, that's what I've gathered. But let's continue.
They kidnapped us. They went behind everyone in our family's back and got a place in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And got the place, got it all together, and thought that I'm dumb as hell, but yeah, thought that they could just take us and move and whatever. They did, they tried, they attempted, but we were found. Police found us. that was a whole fucking thing. Like, my life has been one crazy situation after another because of our mother. Straight up. And then our family always warring with her. Like, it was... Dude, I was a tool. I was a non-stop child tool as, like, get back. But, yeah, so we get taken, and police find us, we get back, and this is when shit gets real, okay? Life as I know it is over. Life as I know it is over. We get back, and now me and my two brothers are staying with Dad. Now, when I say this, it's just for me. Okay? My brothers, David and Anthony, that's their real dad. They're really innocent. Okay? I'm the only one that got lied to and told some other shit. But, so all this is going down, and, yeah, we get separated. Not at first. At first, you know, I'm with them and all that, but one day we gotta go to a courthouse, whatever that is, right? Go to the courthouse. You know what? I'm gonna end it here. Wait till you hear all the judge tells me. Mind you, I'm 6 years old. Wait till you hear how my life got thrown right down the tubes and why I hated authority, hated the court system, police, anyone of authority, I hated them. But that's it so far. We're going to do 10 minutes each part.
So I'm going to jump ahead because I did watch part 2. And I'm not going to react to every little video. But part 2 covers what happened in the courthouse. And what happens in the courthouse is that the judge rules that the 2 biological Ellisons are awarded to their father. The judge changes his last name to his biological father's name, which is Costo. And that's why he's Eric Costo. He was born Eric Lytle, changed to Eric Ellison, and before the age of 7, all of this has happened. And the judge tells him that he's now Eric Costo. And not just that, he's separating you from your brothers. I can understand the hate and the pure anger that you would have. I can understand that. I couldn't imagine myself going through it because just the way my parents were. My parents were happily married, stayed together until my mother's passing. And I mean, I just couldn't imagine it. But that's the reaction for today, but I'm going to jump forward a couple videos. He's, breaking it down into 10-minute parts and telling you exactly what he's went through. So I'm going to give you updates so we don't have to watch a lot of the little ones that's just explaining what happened in the court. They're separated, and I think I'm going to start with the next one being video 3 or 4, because this is number 1. This is his first video. But never forget life's choices, guys. Don't, because you don't know what road you're going to go down. You don't know where it's going to end up. And with that being said, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Hit that channel if you want to help out. And always remember, if they ain't hating it, you ain't making it. Peace.